Hi guys, welcome back to Book Talk. So this week I have a little bit different of a book for you. We're going to be doing what's called, let me try that again. We're going to be doing what I like to call an author spotlight. So I've got a bunch of books here that are all written by the same author, and I really couldn't decide which one to tell you guys about because they're all so amazingly awesome, okay? So the author that we are going to be talking about for this book talk is named Dandi Daley Mackall. See, I always want to add an extra Y. Sorry. Dandi Daley Mackall. Let's get that up in the camera for you. And she has written multiple series. So the first series that I would recommend starting with if you're interested in this author, when I get done telling you about her, you better be, but anyway, is the Winnie the Horse Gentler series. So this is just a random book from that series. But, I mean, it has a horse on it, so it has to be good, right? But she, in this series, she introduces a character that most all of her other books involve, at least to some aspect, and that is the character of Winnie the Horse Gentler, obviously by the title. And she, in this series, is a 12-year-old girl, and the series travels through, I think, like a year or two of her life, and it follows the character Winnie as she's growing in her walk with God, going through just like basic life things that 12-year-olds face. I originally read this series when I was about 12, and I thought it was great, and it was about horses, and I loved it. It was awesome. But then I went back, and I've been reading it now as like someone twice her age, and I've realized that even though the book is for like teenagers, the author did a great job of communicating really big adult truths to a childlike level, which, coming back now as an adult and reading these books, I really appreciate, because I feel like I can get a good story, it's amusing, but it's also like really helpful, because I'm like, wow, that's kind of something adults struggle with too. That's kind of a very deep biblical truth that she just hit on, and I gained something from it. So that's the Winnie the Horse Gentler series. I would highly I cannot talk today, I'm so sorry. I would highly recommend it, even if you're not 12. If you like horses, that is a great series, and it does, like I said, have a lot of great Christian values in there. It tackles a lot of really deep issues, but it does it in a way that's kind of like a childlike level, so you don't have to be super smart and theological, and you still feel like you learned something, okay? So that's the first series that Dandi Daley Mackall wrote, okay? Then the spin-off of that series, which I also recommend, is the Starlight Animal Rescue series. This is the second book in the series. And this one is a spin-off, so it follows one of the character's family members in a different state. But it ties back in the main character of the first series. Winnie is also in this one. So you feel like you're still getting the main characters that you loved in the first series, but now you're just getting it from a slightly different perspective with different characters. So it's a nice little refresh. Plus, the Winnie characters are older, so I think they're like in their late teens. So it's the next step up of maturity. Again, I read this series when I was obviously younger, but going back and rereading it now as an adult, she kind of tackles a bit heavier issues in this series because her characters are a little older. But I mean, I read one of them a couple weeks ago, and I was like, wow, I'm 25 years old, I'm at work, and I'm reading this book, and it's so prevalent to what I'm going through right now. So they're made for kids, but they really have some deep truths in there. So that's the Starlight Animal Rescue series. What I love about these books is every one of the characters that she writes are so well written. I feel like you actually kind of get attached to them. You get to know them, and then you kind of miss them when you're done with the book, and you're like, oh, I have to read the next book because I want to see my friends, which kind of sounds neurotic, but it's just, her writing is really good, and her characters are so real, and then they just pull you into their life story, and you just get so attached to them, you don't want to leave them. So, because of that, when I found that she had written a devotional, I had to check it out. So again, this is marketed for 12-year-old girls, but I figured I loved the series as a kid. I should probably give it a shot, right? So I got her devotion, and I'll hold it back up again for you there. And I've been reading it, and I gotta say, it is like kind of profound. So she takes the same approach as her books, where she has a very like, this is for kids approach, but she takes such deep, heavy truths that when I'm reading it, as someone who's been a Christian as long as I can remember, you know, I'm still learning stuff and gaining stuff and being like, wow, I needed that reminder, or wow, I didn't think about that truth, or she adds such a childlike faith element to it that I feel like it's so refreshing, especially if you're trying to, I'm so sorry, train of thought ran away. Sorry, especially if you're trying to like grow in your faith as a Christian and you're trying to get into those really deep theological things. It's so easy to lose track of just like the childlike faith and acceptance that Christianity is built on. So her devotion really kind of reminded me of that and kind of just brought that back to me. So I wanted to really recommend that. So kind of a lot of books and series today, but it's all from the same author. And I really wanted to point that out to recommend her to you. So that's Dandi Daley Mackall. She wrote the Winnie the Horse Gentler series. She wrote the Starlight Animal Rescue series. And then she also wrote the Winnie the Horse Gentler devotional. So they're written for kids, but they are still super pertinent for adults. Definitely check those out. And happy reading. I hope you have a great week. Let me know what books you'd recommend, and have a good time.